Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Budget session of Parliament begins. President Ramnath Kovind says new farm laws of government provide more rights to farmers. President terms insult of national flag and Republic Day during farmers' tractor rally as unfortunate. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses hope parliamentarians will democratically fulfill aspiration of people. Economic survey tabled in Parliament. More than 29 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine across the country. And centuries-old military tradition beating retreat to be held this evening. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. The budget session of Parliament began today. The session began with the address of President Ramnath Kovind to the joint sitting of both houses of Parliament. Addressing the session, the President said the Constitution gives us the right to freedom of expression, but it also expects that we abide by the laws and rules with equal sincerity. President Kovind termed the recent acts of dishonouring the national flag and showing disrespect to the auspicious occasion of the Republic Day as unfortunate.
मेरी सरकार ने लोकतंत्र में अभिव्यक्ति की आजादी और शांतिपूर्ण आंदोलनों का हमेशा सम्मान किया है, लेकिन पिछले दिनों हुआ तिरंगे और गणतंत्र दिवस जैसे पवित्र दिन का अपमान बहुत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। जो संविधान हमें अभिव्यक्ति की आजादी का अधिकार देता है, वही संविधान हमें सिखाता है कि कानून और नियम का भी उतनी ही गंभीरता से पालन करना चाहिए। मेरी सरकार ये स्पष्ट करना चाहती है कि 3 नए कृषि कानून बनने से पहले पुरानी व्यवस्थाओं के तहत जो अधिकार थे तथा जो सुविधाएं थी, उनमें कहीं कोई कमी नहीं की गई है, बल्कि इन कृषि सुधारों के जरिए सरकार ने किसानों को नई सुविधाएं उपलब्ध कराने के साथ साथ नए अधिकार भी दिए हैं।
The President said the 3 farm laws enacted by the Parliament in the previous session aim at further helping the farmers in the country as they provide more rights and power to the farmers. Mr. Kovind added that over 10 crore small and marginal farmers have started getting benefits from these reforms in the agriculture sector.
इन कृषि सुधारों का सबसे बड़ा लाभ भी 10 करोड़ से अधिक छोटे किसानों को तुरंत मिलना शुरू हुआ। छोटे किसानों को होने वाले इन लाभों को समझते हुए ही अनेक राजनीतिक दलों ने समय समय पर इन सुधारों को अपना भरपूर समर्थन दिया था। वर्तमान में इन कानूनों का अमलीकरण देश की सर्वोच्च अदालत ने स्थगित किया हुआ है। मेरी सरकार उच्चतम न्यायालय के निर्णय का पूरा सम्मान करते हुए उसका पालन करेगी। लोकतंत्र और संविधान की मर्यादा को सर्वोपरि रखने वाली मेरी सरकार इन कानूनों के संदर्भ में पैदा किए गए भ्रम को दूर करने का निरंतर प्रयास कर रही है।
The President asserted that the central government has taken several measures to improve the condition of farmers in the country, like implementation of the recommendations of the MS Swaminathan Committee report on agriculture. It has increased the MSP of crops by 1.5 times.
आत्मनिर्भर भारत का हमारा लक्ष्य आत्मनिर्भर कृषि से और सशक्त होगा। इसी सोच के साथ सरकार ने बीते 6 वर्षों में बीज से लेकर बाजार तक हर व्यवस्था में सकारात्मक परिवर्तन का प्रयास किया है, ताकि भारतीय कृषि आधुनिक भी बने और कृषि का विस्तार भी हो। इन्हीं प्रयासों के क्रम में मेरी सरकार ने स्वामीनाथन आयोग की सिफारिशों को लागू करते हुए लागत से 1.5 गुना एमएसपी देने का फैसला भी किया। मेरी सरकार आज न सिर्फ एमएसपी पर रिकॉर्ड मात्रा में खरीद कर रही है, बल्कि खरीद केंद्रों की संख्या को भी बढ़ा रही है। मुझे खुशी है कि सरकार के इन प्रयासों को हमारे किसान अपने परिश्रम से और आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं।
Talking about the fight against COVID-19, Mr. Kovind expressed satisfaction that due to timely decisions of the government, lives of millions of people have been saved and the number of corona patients are gradually decreasing in the country.
कोरोना महामारी के इस समय में जब दुनिया का प्रत्येक व्यक्ति, हर देश इससे प्रभावित हुआ, आज भारत एक नए सामर्थ्य के साथ दुनिया के सामने उभर कर आया है। मुझे संतोष है कि मेरी सरकार के समय पर लिए गए सटीक फैसलों से लाखों देशवासियों का जीवन बचा है। आज देश में कोरोना के नए मरीजों की संख्या भी तेजी से घट रही है और जो संक्रमण से ठीक हो चुके हैं उनकी संख्या भी बहुत अधिक है।
President Kovinds said the country has started recovering from the damage done to the economy by the COVID pandemic amid the centre's incessant efforts to save the lives of every countryman.
अर्थव्यवस्था को संभालने के लिए रिकॉर्ड आर्थिक पैकेज की घोषणा के साथ ही मेरी सरकार ने इस बात का भी ध्यान रखा कि किसी गरीब को भूखा न रहना पड़े। प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण योजना के माध्यम से 8 महीनों तक 80 करोड़ लोगों को 5 किलो प्रति माह अतिरिक्त अनाज निःशुल्क सुनिश्चित किया गया। सरकार ने प्रवासी श्रमिकों, कामगारों और अपने घर से दूर रहने वाले लोगों की भी चिंता की। वन नेशन वन राशन कार्ड की सुविधा देने के साथ ही सरकार ने उन्हें निःशुल्क अनाज मुहैया कराया और उनके लिए श्रमिक स्पेशल ट्रेनें चलवाई।
Mr. Kovind added that even in these difficult times, India has emerged as an attractive place for the investors of the world.
कोरोना काल में बनी वैश्विक परिस्थितियों ने जब हर देश की प्राथमिकता उसकी अपनी जरूरतें थी, हमें ये याद दिलाया है कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत का निर्माण क्यों इतना महत्वपूर्ण है। इस दौरान भारत ने बहुत ही कम समय में 2200 से अधिक प्रयोगशालाओं का नेटवर्क बनाकर हजारों वेंटिलेटर्स का निर्माण करके पीपीई किट से लेकर टेस्ट किट बनाने तक में आत्मनिर्भरता हासिल करके अपनी वैज्ञानिक क्षमता, अपनी तकनीकी दक्षता और अपने मजबूत स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम का भी परिचय दिया है।
The President also said by making lakhs of corona vaccine doses available to several countries, India has also fulfilled its obligation towards humanity in these times of difficulty.
हमारे लिए यह और भी गर्व की बात है कि आज भारत दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा टीकाकरण अभियान चला रहा है। इस प्रोग्राम की दोनों वैक्सीन भारत में ही निर्मित हैं। संकट के इस समय में भारत ने मानवता के प्रति अपने दायित्व का निर्वहन करते हुए अनेक देशों को कोरोना वैक्सीन की लाखों खुराक उपलब्ध कराई है। भारत के इस कार्य की विश्व भर में हो रही प्रशंसा हमारी हजारों वर्ष पुरानी संस्कृति सर्वे संतु निरामया की भावना के साथ जग कल्याण की हमारी प्रार्थना हमारे प्रयासों को और ऊर्जा दे रही है।
Highlighting the several steps for the welfare of the youth, the President said the Centre's decision to end interviews in the selection process of Group C and D posts has greatly benefited the youth in the country. He said the Centre has also set up the National Recruitment Agency to relieve the youth from the hassle of taking numerous exams for appointment to government services. The President said it is a delightful coincidence that the nation started construction of the new Parliament while moving towards the 75th year of independence. President Kovinds said the government is fully committed to protect the interests of the country. Referring to the Galwan Valley incident, he said additional forces have been deployed to protect India's sovereignty over the line of actual control. He said the government was also mindful of the plight of migrant labourers, workers and those who were away from their homes. He said an amount of nearly 31,000 crore rupees was directly transferred to the Jan Dhan accounts of poor women. The President also said that during this period, more than 14 crore gas cylinders were given free of cost throughout the country to poor women beneficiaries under the Ujjwala scheme.
महामारी के कारण शहरों से वापस आए प्रवासियों को उनके ही गांवों में काम देने के लिए मेरी सरकार ने 6 राज्यों में गरीब कल्याण रोजगार अभियान भी चलाया। इस अभियान की वजह से 50 करोड़ मैन डेज के बराबर रोजगार पैदा हुआ। सरकार ने रेहड़ी पटरी वालों और ठेला लगाने वाले भाई बहनों के लिए विशेष स्वनिधि योजना भी शुरू की। इसके साथ ही करीब 31,000 करोड़ रुपए गरीब महिलाओं के जन धन खातों में सीधे ट्रांसफर भी किए गए। इस दौरान देश भर में उज्ज्वला योजना की लाभार्थी गरीब महिलाओं को 14 करोड़ से अधिक मुफ्त गैस सिलेंडर भी मिले। अपने सभी निर्णयों में मेरी सरकार ने संघीय ढांचे की सामूहिक शक्ति का अद्वितीय उदाहरण भी प्रस्तुत किया है। केंद्र और राज्य सरकारों के बीच इस समन्वय ने लोकतंत्र को मजबूत बनाया है और संविधान की प्रतिष्ठा को सशक्त किया है।
Highlighting the efforts of the Centre towards ensuring best healthcare facilities in the country, he said under the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, 1 crore 50 lakh poor people in the country received free treatment of up to 5 lakh rupees. President Kovinds said that raising the standard of living of the villagers has been a priority for the government. He said this is best exemplified by the 2 crore houses built since 2014 for the poor families living in villages. He said besides delivering water to every household under the Har Ghar Jal Yojana, work on water conservation is also progressing at a rapid pace. President Kovind also underlined the construction of nearly 6,42,000 kilometers of road in the rural areas of the country under the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Talking about women participation in the growth story of the nation, he said the government has taken several decisions in this direction, such as appointing women in the fighter stream of the Indian Air Force and the military police for the first time. President Kovind said the centre also came up with the Suvidha scheme, under which sanitary napkins are made available at a nominal cost of 1 rupee.
President Kovind said efforts are underway to transform Brahmaputra and Barak rivers as streams of development, and this will benefit all sections of people in the northeast. Talking about the development initiatives in Jammu and Kashmir, he said, after becoming a union territory, elections to the Ladakh Autonomous Hill Council have been held successfully a few months back. He said after the implementation of the Ayushman Bharat Health Scheme, every family of Jammu and Kashmir is assured of free treatment worth 5 lakh rupees. President Kovind said the development-oriented policy of the government has also received wholehearted support from the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Highlighting the reforms ushered in through the National Education Policy 2020, he said under the new policy it is the first time that the students have been given the freedom to opt for the subjects of their choice. President Kovind said after abrogation of provisions of Article 370 of the people of Jammu and Kashmir have been empowered with new entitlements. He also mentioned the commencement of the construction of a Grand Ram Mandir temple in Ayodhya after the Supreme Court judgment. President also informed that the country will witness the beginning of the Amrut Mahotsav from this year, which will mark the commencement of the celebrations towards the 75th year of India's independence. Congress, Left, RJD, NCP, DMK, TMC, Shiv Sena, Samajwadi Party and others have boycotted the President's address, protesting against the farm laws. The government has convened an all-party meeting tomorrow to seek support of political parties to ensure smooth conduct of business in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Our correspondent reports that on Sunday, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has called for a meeting of leaders of all parties in the upper house.
In view of COVID-19 pandemic, the Rajya Sabha will function from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the Lok Sabha will function from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. The first part of the session will conclude on 15th February, which will have 12 sittings. The second part of the budget session will begin on the 8th of March and will conclude on the 8th of April and will have 21 sittings. The Union Budget 21-22 will be presented on the 1st of next month. This will be the first budget in the history of India which will be presented in paperless form. With Dipendra Kumar, Suparna Saikya, AIR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said this decade is very important for India's bright future and this decade should be fully utilized and there should be discussions in this session related to this decade which is expected by the nation. The Prime Minister was speaking to the media at the commencement of the budget session today.
इस दशक का आज ये पहला सत्र प्रारंभ हो रहा है। भारत के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए ये दशक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है और इसलिए प्रारंभ से ही आजादी के दीवानों ने जो सपने देखे थे उन सपनों को, उन संकल्पों को तेज गति से सिद्ध करने का ये स्वर्णिम अवसर अब देश के पास आया है। इस दशक का भरपूर उपयोग हो और इसलिए इस सत्र में इस पूरे दशक को ध्यान में रखते हुए चर्चाएं हो, सभी प्रकार के विचारों की प्रस्तुति हो और उत्तम मंथन से उत्तम अमृत प्राप्त हो, ये देश की अपेक्षाएं हैं।
Mr. Modi said the first session of the Parliament of this decade commences today and this year's budget will be seen as a part of those 4 to 5 mini-budgets which were presented in the form of different packages by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the last year. The Prime Minister said this is for the first time in Indian history that Finance Minister had to present 4 to 5 mini-budgets during 2020.
भारत के इतिहास में पहली बार हुआ कि 2020 में वित्त मंत्री जी को अलग अलग पैकेज के रूप में एक प्रकार से 4-5 मिनी बजट देने पड़े, यानी 2020 एक प्रकार से लगातार मिनी बजट का सिलसिला चलता रहा और इसलिए ये बजट भी उन 4-5 बजट की श्रृंखला में ही देखा जाएगा, ये मुझे पूरा विश्वास है।
The Prime Minister expressed confidence and hope that all the parliamentarians will fulfill the aspiration of the people by following all the limitations of democracy.
मुझे विश्वास है कि जिस आशा और अपेक्षा के साथ देश के कोटि कोटि जनों ने हम सबको संसद में भेजा है, हम संसद के इस पवित्र स्थान का भरपूर उपयोग करते हुए लोकतंत्र की सभी मर्यादाओं का पालन करते हुए जन आकांक्षाओं की पूर्ति के लिए अपने योगदान में पीछे नहीं रहेंगे। सभी सांसद इस सत्र को और अधिक उत्तम बनाएंगे, ये मेरा पूरा विश्वास है।
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Budget session of Parliament begins. President Ramnath Kovind says new farm laws of government provide more rights to farmers. President terms insult of the national flag and Republic Day during farmers' tractor rally as unfortunate. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses hope parliamentarians will democratically fulfill aspiration of people. Economic survey table in Parliament. More than 29 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine across the country. And centuries-old military tradition beating retreat to be held this evening. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to the Midday News. Economic Survey 2020-21 has projected GDP growth for the next financial year at 11%. It has suggested that the growth recovery will be driven by government consumption. The Economic Survey 2020-21, tabled by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the Lok Sabha today, suggested that the net exports and government consumption have cushioned the growth from further plunge. It says the GDP for the current financial year is estimated to contract by 7.7%. It further says that the nominal GDP for the next fiscal is expected to grow at 15.4%. The Economic Survey gave a detailed analysis of India's V-shaped economic recovery after the shadow effect of the corona pandemic. It says that the mega vaccination drive supports the V-shaped recovery. The survey also highlights that the agriculture sector has remained the silver lining in the growth trajectory even during these tough times. It says that the contact-based services, including manufacturing and construction, faced a sharp plunge due to the corona pandemic. The survey calls for more active counter-cyclical fiscal policies, with importance being accorded to fiscal responsibility. It acknowledges that the healthcare sector has taken center stage in the economy. It added that the key role of the government is to actively shape and structure the healthcare market in the country. The survey underscores that the recent softening of the CPI inflation index reflects easing of the supply-side constraints in the country. The survey was presented amid Congress, DMK and Left members' protest in the House against the three farm laws. Earlier, President Ramnath Kovind's address to the joint sitting of both houses of Parliament was also tabled in the Lok Sabha. The lower house made obituary references to the demise of sitting MP Suresh Angadi and former members Ramvilas Paswan, Tarun Gogoi, Motilal Vora, Jaswant Singh, Ahmed Patel and others. The House was adjourned for the day. The Rajya Sabha will meet at 3 p.m. today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India offers a predictable and friendly tax regime and FDI norms. Addressing World Economic Forum's Davos dialogue through video conferencing, he said there have been continued emphasis on reforms and incentive-based stimulus. The Prime Minister said structural reforms during corona times have been supported by production-linked incentives. Mr. Modi said India is also matching its growth with the goals of climate change.
कोरोना के इस समय में भी भारत ने करीब करीब हर सेक्टर में स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स की गति को तेज किया है। इन रिफॉर्म्स को प्रोडक्शन लिंक इंसेंटिव्स से सपोर्ट किया जा रहा है। अब भारत में टैक्स रीजिम से लेकर एफडीआई नॉर्म्स तक एक प्रिडिक्टेबल और फ्रेंडली एनवायरनमेंट है। भारत में ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस की स्थिति लगातार बेहतर हो, इस दिशा में भी काम जारी है। भारत अपनी ग्रोथ को क्लाइमेट चेंज के लक्ष्यों के साथ भी बहुत तेजी से मैच कर रहा है।
The Prime Minister cautioned that technology should become a tool of ease of living, not a trap. He said India is focusing on sustainable urbanization with focus on ease of living, ease of doing business and climate-sensitive development. Mr. Modi said that effective containment of corona in India has saved humanity from a very big tragedy. He said despite the initial misgivings about the country's capacity to handle the pandemic, India moved forward with proactive and pro-participation approach and worked on strengthening the COVID-specific health infrastructure.
भारत प्रोएक्टिव पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशन के अप्रोच के साथ आगे बढ़ता रहा। हमने कोविड स्पेसिफिक हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप करने पर जोर लगाया। हमने अपने ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज को कोरोना से लड़ने के लिए ट्रेन किया। टेस्टिंग और ट्रैकिंग इसके लिए टेक्नोलॉजी का भरपूर इस्तेमाल किया। इस लड़ाई में भारत के प्रत्येक व्यक्ति ने धैर्य के साथ अपने कर्तव्यों का पालन किया। कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ाई को एक जन आंदोलन में बदल दिया। आज भारत दुनिया के उन देशों में से है जो अपने ज्यादा से ज्यादा नागरिकों का जीवन बचाने में सफल रहा है।
A total of over 29,28,000 people have been administered COVID-19 vaccines in the country so far. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said more than 5,72,000 people have been inoculated with COVID-19 doses in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate reached 96.96% with a total recovery of more than 20,000 patients in the last 24 hours. The ministry said that more than 1 crore 3 lakh patients have already recovered from this disease. COVID-19 active cases is on a continuous declining trajectory in the country. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 1,71,686, which comprises only 1.60% of the total positive cases. A total number of 18,855 new cases have been reported in the country in the past 24 hours, taking the cumulative positive cases to over 1 crore 7 lakh. The Health Ministry said 163 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, taking the toll to over 1,54,000 across the country. The Indian Council of Medical Research said that various laboratories have conducted more than 7,42,000 tests of coronavirus samples in the last 24 hours, and more than 19 crore 50 lakh tests have been done in the country so far. More than 2,47,000 patients have recovered from COVID infection so far in Madhya Pradesh. COVID vaccination has also been done smoothly in the state. More from a Bhopal correspondent.
In Madhya Pradesh, over 1,95,000 people were vaccinated so far across the state, out of which more than 63,000 people were vaccinated yesterday. Highest number of vaccination was done in Shajapur district, which stood highest in achieving the target vaccination with 82%, followed by Dindori with 81%. Additional Chief Secretary Health Mohammad Suleiman and Health Commissioner Dr. Sanjay Goyal were also vaccinated yesterday. Both have appealed to other health workers and public at large to get vaccinated. Meanwhile, 226 new positive cases were reported yesterday, while 321 patients recovered. 5 districts recorded no positive case, with 3 patients succumbing to the infection. The death toll rose to 3,802. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Gutteres has called upon India to play a major role in global corona vaccination campaign. Talking to reporters, UN Chief termed the vaccine production capacity of India as best asset the world has today. He said in India there is a very high level of production of Indian-developed vaccines. UN Chief said India has all the instruments that are necessary to play a major role in making sure that a global vaccination campaign is made possible.
In India, there is a production, a very high level of production, both of Indian-developed vaccines, and I think there is a perspective, very important perspective of also others, and we are in contact with Indian institutions for that, and we strongly hope that India will have all the instruments that are necessary to play a major role in making sure that a global vaccination campaign becomes possible. I think that the production capacity of India is one of the best assets the world has today, and I hope the world understands that it must be fully used.
An agreement for providing financial support to STARS project has been signed between Department of Economic Affairs and World Bank, along with the Ministry of Education. Strengthening teaching, learning and results for states, STARS project is aimed at improving the overall monitoring and measurement activities in the school education system through interventions in selected states. The total cost of this project is over 5,000 crore rupees, and the World Bank will provide the financial support of 3,700 crore rupees. Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank has said the CBSE exam date sheet of 10th and 12th class will be announced on the 2nd of February. Interacting with presidents and secretaries of CBSE Sahodaya school complexes through video conference, Mr. Pokhriyal said computerized affiliation system to be based on data analytics and self-disclosure of schools. The minister said the records of all CBSE students who enrolled in the span of last 45 years will be digitized. This will help citizens who enrolled after 1975 to get certificates easily. He said CBSE will train 10 lakh teachers in the coming year to meet the goals of National Education Policy 2020.
Beating the retreat ceremony, which marks the culmination of the 4-day-long Republic Day celebrations, will be held at the historic Vijay Chowk in New Delhi this evening. The Defence Ministry said this year Indian tunes will be the flavour of the ceremony. As many as 26 performances will enthrall the spectators with captivating and foot-tapping music of the bands from the Army, Navy, Air Force and Central Armed Police Forces, CAPF. The entry band will be massed band with Swarnim Vijay theme. It will be a special new composition to commemorate 50 years of victory of India in the 1971 war against Pakistan. This will be followed by pipes and drums band, CAPF bands, Air Force band, Naval band, Army Mill band and massed bands. The event will come to a close with the ever-popular tune of Sare Jahan Se Acha.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for the day. In the national capital, Delhi is witnessing cold wave. The minimum temperature was 4 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 20 degrees. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 14 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 30 degrees. Chennai is witnessing fog and mist in the morning and a partly cloudy sky later. The minimum temperature was 23 degrees. Maximum will be around 31. Kolkata is likely to witness mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 13 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 24 degrees. In Jammu and Kashmir, Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky becoming gently cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. The minimum temperature was -8 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 4 degrees. In Jammu, the minimum temperature was 6 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 20 degrees. The city will have a mainly clear sky. Leh will also have a clear sky. The minimum temperature was -15 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 6 degrees. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature was -6 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 12. Muzaffarabad will also have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature was 4 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 18 degrees. Dehradun will have a mainly clear sky later. The minimum temperature was 4 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 21. Chandigarh witnessed fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Minimum temperature was 4 degrees. Maximum will be around 18. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature was 20 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 31. Sky will be partly cloudy. Ahmedabad will witness a clear sky. Minimum temperature was 11 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 27. In Patna, dense fog was witnessed with cold day conditions. The minimum temperature was 7 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be 19 degrees. In Guwahati, the minimum temperature was 14 degrees. Maximum will be around 23. City is witnessing gently cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder or lightning. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Budget session of Parliament begins. President Ramnath Kovind says new farm laws of government provide more rights to farmers. President terms insult of national flag and Republic Day during farmers' tractor rally as unfortunate. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expresses hope parliamentarians will democratically fulfill aspiration of people. Economic Survey 2020-21 projects 11% GDP growth for the next financial year. More than 29 lakh people administered COVID-19 vaccine across the country. and centuries-old military tradition beating retreat to be held this evening. And with that we end the midday news.